He's getting louder.
It always be this one. All right, now we're live on all the platforms. Man, oh man. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Laquita's Toolbox Live. I am your host, Laquita Monley, and we have a very amazing show in store for you today. So we're going to just hang out here for just a second. Let some people come on in the room. I see one or two people popping in and popping out, but we'll take this moment just to give you guys an opportunity to get locked in. Those of you that are joining us across Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, and LinkedIn, thank you so much for joining us. Hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let's get this message out because today is part 5 of our 5-part episode of conversations about what it is like to be a military spouse. And so, as always, my amazing co-host, America's Supermom, Miss LaChelle, is here in the studio with me today. How you doing, Miss LaChelle?
I am doing well. I am excited to be here today, and I can't believe it's been 5 episodes already.
Right.
We
It
were
went
just
by
talking and
fast.
passing, and now it's like, we have made it to the finish line. So, some great conversations. So I'm excited to be here with our guests today.
Yes, yes. So we have some pretty special guests in the studio with us today, all the way from the UK. My amazing brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Robin and Clinton Monley. And they're going to be talking to us about the joys, or maybe not joy, depends on how they feeling today, of, of PCSing. So we've talked a lot about, different aspects of what it means to be a military family. Last week, we had an amazing conversation with Chaplain Briggs and Minister McCallum. They brought some fire, laid some gems out for us last week. And this week won't be any different. So, people of God, as you're coming on into the room, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. We want to make sure that we get this message out to as many people. Those of you that are returning viewers, thank you so much for returning to this amazing 5-part series. And if this is your first time, we want to hear from you. We like to have an engaging conversation. So get in that comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. Give us your thoughts, your feelings, ask your questions, because that's what we're here to do, to answer questions and just to, shed some light on a subject that we feel like does not get enough conversation. Mm-hmm. So, Miss Clinton, dang. God, bro. Clinton,
instantly
right. Clinton and Miss Monley, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Okay. Hi, I'm Clinton Monley. I am the lovely husband of Miss Robin Monley here. We have 2 lovely children and are expecting one on the way, 12-year-old and 1-year-old. And in 2 weeks or a week, hopefully, we'll have another addition. So we have Faithlyn, she's 12, be 13 this year. We have Rayma, who's 1-year-old. She'll be 19 months, so she'll be 2 this year. And then we have on the way Miss Micaiah. I'm sorry, not Michaela. Miss Micaiah.
He named her.
I am, of course, husband, dad, and military member. Active duty Air Force, which is my latest career venture. I've done some things previously that afforded me some experience and opportunities in other fields. I'm currently 4 years into my military career as a dental technician in the medical arena. And it's been fun. It's been quite an experience as a military member. I'll let Robin go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm me.
Hey, me. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Robin. I'm married to the handsome Clinton Monley here, trying to keep up with him. Next month we'll be celebrating 22 years together and
Wow.
17 years married,
Awesome.
with 3 lovely children that we're calling That's It.
Hats off to you, SuperMoms.
It's awesome. And I love when people ask, "You ain't gonna try for a boy?" No, if God wanted me to have a boy, He would have gave me one already. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's all girls, and we're fine with that. We're all 3 beautiful girls,
Girl dad.
and so, but yeah, just keeping up with the lovely, handsome, manly here.
Just I got so many questions in my head right now that I want to ask. And it's probably because I know y'all personally, but I won't do you. I'm not gonna lie and say I won't do you like that. I just won't ask you every question that's
Okay.
so we're gonna I'm gonna slide them in there a little bit at a time. I'll slide them in there, and I'm sure Miss LaChelle will slide some in there too. But
Mhm.
one of the actually, you know what? I will slide one in right now. I'll slide one in right now because we haven't really talked about what I'm about to ask you in any of our previous episodes, and that's speaking directly to people who are engaged, people who are thinking about getting married to a
Mhm.
service member. And I want to ask the question because I know that that was prior to Clinton joining, that was a conversation that you guys were having. Should we do this? Should we not do this? You know, looking back on things now, sitting where you're sitting today, what would your advice be to people who are contemplating it or may have some reservations? Say, yeah, but I heard all these crazy things about military men and military marriages. You know, what would you guys say to help fix those issues?
Oh my goodness. And I say that because, back in the day, my my husband actually wanted to join the army, and I had no understanding about it at all. And I was that one that uh I guess changed his thought about it, made him not want to move forward in going because I told him, I said, I can't marry a military man, due to what I thought I knew about it, but I didn't have a clue. And so um, he, like you mentioned a moment ago, he's been in now going on 5 years. And, we've hit some bump in the roads, but when he came to me telling me that he wanted to join, and I was like, really? Okay. And so we talked about it a little bit and got his thoughts on it, and I was like, okay, this is a settling moving forward with in a career, and we're believers of Jesus. So I said, Lord, if this is of you, amen. And so we just begin to move forward. He began to move forward with the process of joining, and so far it's been good. Of course, we've had our little hiccups, but overall it's pretty good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And the reason that I wanted to ask, other than the fact that I do know you guys personally, um, that story isn't just singular to you. There's probably thousands of couples across the United States right now that are having that very same conversation, whether it is um, the potential husband that wants to join one of the branches or the potential wife that wants to join one of the branches, but they're getting so much misinformation, so much wrong information about what could happen or why it's not a good thing. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to really have this show is to dispel error, you know,
Right.
military marriages. And it's something, even yesterday, The show that I was on yesterday, the gentleman that was interviewing me, Dr. Cooley, he's a Navy vet, a retired naval officer. And he and his wife have longevity. Uh, Yourselves have longevity. My husband and I have longevity. Uh, LaChelle and her husband, they have longevity. So I know a lot of times on some of the popular rumors are, and not to say that it doesn't happen, military service is hard. It's hard on the family, it's hard on the service member, so therefore it can be hard on the marriage. But it doesn't have to be the thing that ends the marriage.
Right.
And and we wanted to, make sure that we highlight, I don't want to say success stories, but we highlight the normal people that don't quite get the platforms to say, hey, yeah, my wife or my husband spent 15 years in, 20 years in, 30 years in, however long. And yes, we're married. And yes, our marriage is thriving. Yes, we had some bumps in the road like everybody else. But we're still here today and we have nothing but good things to say about it. So I wanted to give LaChelle a chance to jump in there. I do see we have a few people that have jumped into the comments. We appreciate you. If you would, those of you who want to comment, want to ask a question, if you could, please give StreamYard permission to access your profile so that we can know who you are. Right now, we just know that you're Facebook users. So, which is still, that's fine. If you don't want your profile name to show up, that's fine. But if you were unaware that was happening, please go ahead and give StreamYard permission to access your profile across whatever social media platform you're on, so that we can properly introduce you as we are putting your questions up.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a great conversation. And I think, you mentioned something earlier about what you heard or thought you knew about the military. Mm-hmm. And I want to kind of start with that because so often, we can talk about the military, but there's a lot of things that we kind of get in our own head about. We think we know when it comes to business or relationships. So I want to kind of highlight, what was it that you thought you knew about it, or your image or belief around it, and how did that change? What happened to change that?
I'm gonna mute my mic.
It's wow, help me, Lord. So I didn't say that because it's clear here. I already know the answer to that, but yeah. So okay. So leaving names out. For me, my when I gave my life to the Lord, and this is Robin 101, me personally, and he opened my eyes up to see a lot of things. I was not much, but a little older, than I was when I found out the previous information about why it wasn't a good move, and it takes you away from your family, and they always be deployed.
Information.
And I'm sharing what the conversation was. And so when my eyes was open to understand that pretty much all of that information was incorrect, in a sense. I mean, it does take military members away from their family. They do deploy, and thank God mine ain't deployed. Thank you, Jesus. But it does have its perks and then its disadvantages. But at the same time, when for me, what keeps me going on a daily basis with my husband's career is, one, constantly keeping him in prayer, and two, always trying to be encouraging to him, asking, hey, what can I do? How can I help? Just trying to get here to the UK was a lot. Along with the fact that I am currently 36 weeks pregnant. And so it was a lot. It took a lot. It was a lot of seemed like delay to get to where we are right now. Like it seemed like the enemy had his hands in everything. But just trying to be there and honey, what can I do? Had to take the girls myself to what you call those physicals, and then had to run back and forth to the dentist to get them to sign off on stuff. Had to go here and there. These were things that he could have done, but it made his load a little easier because I was able to do it while pulling along two lovely children. And so, it's having that understanding. If honestly, we were in college. We were in college when me and him had this discussion about him joining for the first time. Thinking about it, since he's been in, I pretty much had the mindset that, man, if I would have known what I know today, I would have joined. Like, seriously. I mean, seriously, knowing what I know today, and I probably would have joined, because it gives you a career, it gives you stability, it gives you so much. There's things that are taken away from you, like if you have to deploy and things like that. But as far as your family, I never have to worry about our girls or myself being medically taken care of, or not having a roof over our heads, or things like that. That many in America are concerned about today, especially with what's going on in the world. We don't have to be concerned about those things. And so therefore, we're very, 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 very grateful.
Amen. That's good. And then you hit some great points. Like, even within the military community itself, there's a lot of negative stigmatism around active duty service and being married. Where, like, certain duty stations that you go to, oh, you don't want to go to this duty station because your marriage is not going to make it. Oh, if your husband goes to Korea, you know, he gonna leave you and come back with a Korean wife. No, that's not the case. I mean, maybe for some people, those are total life decisions that have absolutely nothing to do with the location, but everything to do with the perception of the people in the marriage. My husband's been to Korea. My husband's been to Iraq. He's been to Afghanistan. We've lived in Germany. Germany was another one of those duty stations. Oh, girl, you don't want to go there. You go there, you come back. You won't be married. And it boils down to the two people that are in the marriage, and not necessarily the environment in which you're going. If you as individuals have strong faith and a strong marriage, you have the ability to go and change the atmosphere in any environment that you show up in. You don't have to take on, the bad habits of the environments that you're placed in. So, but appreciate you for sharing that, because that's something that, how many people have been hindered in their decision to either A, get married, or B, join the military because of their relationship based off of bad information.
Right. And that is very true. And I'm a part of a few groups on Facebook, like Black Military Wives and Christian Military Wives, and there's some other groups on there. I just joined for information. But they often, you see people come on there and vent about things going on in their marriage, and hey, I just got married and this man about to deploy, and what are we gonna do? So many people that they have the PCS and they don't have any family where they're going. It's like us. We over here and on this island. On this island, we don't have no family at all. Even when we went to Virginia, we there was no family, but you know, thankful to the people that we have been able to meet and that are able to you know, assist us and be a blessing in our lives. You know, God put people in your life when you don't even realize what they there for. But you know, just being very grateful for that. So
I
definitely.
love that. That's great. Now, so talk to us about how um, being in this environment with military has helped you with your personal development. I know, when my husband was in different units and, he had different assignments, you just got to meet people. The kids are just kind of together, and that ability to start communicating with people and kind of getting rid of some of the um I don't know, just misconceptions about culture and
Mhm.
race and age and all these different things kind of go out the window because, you just are there together and your kids are together and, you've got to somewhat get along. So, how has it kind of helped you with, like right now you're in the UK, that's a different culture. Yeah, you may be
Yes.
speaking English, but they know immediately by hearing you talk that you're not from there.
Yeah.
So how has this helped you in your own
Um,
personal development?
well, you know, uh, that's funny what you said about the culture and people in a lovely accents over here. That part, oh my goodness, you know, having to ask a person, I'm sorry, what did you say? Because they talk kind of fast here. Some of them really do. They like you'll be on the phone with them and they just going off, and you like, I don't know what you just said, but
Run
okay.
that back one more time.
And you know, and then you know, it's learning their language. You know, a lot of things that we call certain things in the States, they call it, they have a different language here. And so learning that slowly, but definitely the culture being here on base, because we stay in base housing. Like I was saying a moment ago, how God puts people in your lives. You don't know why they're there for that moment, but you know, it begins to all make sense. Me and my husband, we was talking because our baby, the 19-month-old, Rama, she was born during the pandemic. And so, you know, everything shut down. And because of that, you know, her surrounding, her comfort zone is us. You know, it wasn't no getting her, taking her to the library, walking around, meeting folks and all that like I did with our oldest. It was pretty much us because, you know, you're in safety mode. But we got to talking about allowing her to be a part of the CDC here, Child Development Center. And so when they signed her up, found out they actually give you a waiver for 20 hours, which is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for 20 hours free. Question laughing at me. But it's thank you. Anywho, we went to sign her up, and me and her mom, speak for me, I was really concerned because she is little busy bee for real, be all over the place to the time she lay down or it's about time for her to eat. She's all over the place, and so we was concerned about how she was going to react to being around other children and a different atmosphere outside of home. I wouldn't have dropped this child out. She gone on over there playing with the toys like it ain't nothing. I'm standing there. Can I get some sugar? You know, don't left me like it ain't nothing. She just okay, bye. You know, and even the next day, she's been 2 days so far. just like it's nothing. And the wonderful part about it is that one of the ladies that work there is our next door neighbor, like right next door to us. And she works there. She's been getting familiar with Rama, and so has Rama been getting familiar with her. And I told my husband one day that the idea came to me, that if for some reason I was to go into labor, what were we gonna do with our children? Because they don't allow them in the hospital here. Period. You're not going in there. And so that was definitely a concern. Yes, our oldest is 12, but at the same time, we're not about to leave her with no baby all day. That ain't gonna happen. And so, we got to talking about it, and I was like, well, why don't let's see if what the neighbors may think about being a help. And so, which took us out of our comfort zone because technically they're complete strangers, right? So we went next door and talked to them for a moment. Her and her husband, they invited us in. Such loving spirits, it was like whatever we can do to help. If you need me to stay overnight, I can. It was really awesome how they just pitched in to help with the situation should it come that it's time to have the baby, and you know that's our only option for the moment.
But
Yes.
that's real good. But and it speaks to why a lot of consistent negative complaints that we would get um, would be, oh, I'm so far away from home. I don't know anybody. Or like you said, hey, I'm about to have this baby. We literally, because you guys have only been in country, what, 3 weeks?
Yep, going on a little over 3 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're actually about to approach a month. Yeah.
So
So
you
yeah.
literally just got in country.
Mhm.
You're about to have a baby. You have so many moving parts still going on. So, like you said, it pretty much a stranger. You haven't had time to form bonds, if you will, like you would if you're moving as a civilian moving into a neighborhood.
Right.
Right.
But as military families, we have to have that resiliency. We have to have that ability, like LaChelle was saying, to get out, network, learn. You hit the ground discovering
Mhm.
instead of letting fear in whatever form fear want to try to show up. Instead of letting fear, dictate how you move, you have
Right.
to get out and move by faith
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
the baby coming.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
She's not asking anybody's permission as to when she's gonna arrive. She's just gonna arrive when she's ready. And so
Absolutely.
whether
I just want to make it to Monday.
Absolutely.
that's and
Well,
and
I can speak to that a little bit as well. It's a unique experience being on a smaller base. Crown here in the UK is a lot smaller than where we were in Virginia. The community is smaller, so it's when you have that small group or that smaller community, it tends to be a little bit different. And we heard about some of the differences, and some of the military members out there, active or retired, probably can relate. Usually, when you're overseas in a smaller community, the um, the togetherness, the unity is a lot different. The engagement is a lot different. Um, we're a bit different, when it comes to engaging in our surroundings. So, like even back in Virginia, we knew all the neighbors on our street. We made it a point to know them. We made it a point to meet them or speak to them or somehow, some way, even the ones who were weird and didn't want to engage. At some point, they got tired of me saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Or they got tired of Robin saying, "Hey, how you doing?" And the engagement, because sometimes we get in this mode of, okay, I don't know you, I don't want to talk to you. But uh, it's just we're different from the South. I'm an engaging person. I like to talk, but it takes me out of my comfort zone meeting new people. So I have to force myself into that situation as well. So I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna force myself into this situation, you're not gonna ignore me. I'm gonna speak to you until you speak to me. And that's actually the most of our neighbors. That's how we met them. We met them by being engaging, and all of them worked hard. Most of them engaged with us. They talked to us. We started this thing with our neighbors where it was just like, hey, you want to go out to lunch? So we actually started inviting a couple of our neighbors out to lunch, and that was an engagement during like slightly after COVID, that we started doing to get to know the people around us. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a military member or even as an individual is not getting to know the people around you. You should at least know your immediate neighbor. Like if I'm missing 2 days and my neighbor didn't notice that I'm missing, that's a problem. And in the society that we live in today, that's a problem because most people don't engage their immediate neighbor like that, um, because it takes them out of their comfort zone, or their neighbor is just like so abrasive to they're scared to engage them because they don't know what's going to come out. So, we had that interaction with our neighbors in Virginia, and, we loved it. We love to talk to them. We love to engage with them. Made some fast friends in a short time. We were only there for 3 years, but we made some good friends, some, people that followed us, followed our PCS, um, people that engaged with us during our PCS, people that said, hey, we're praying for you. Some of our one of our direct neighbors across the street, Christian family, throughout the whole PCS process, she was praying for us because she knew that the struggle was real. And it was a bit different because they were actually an Army family. Um, one of the other neighbors that we met had been there over 12 years. They were a Navy family, and this is all in the same community. Next door to us and the other friends that we met were all Air Force. So you get that cultural difference with the military, but likewise with anyone in your local community. You might not work at the same places or have the same experiences, but you get to know that person. And to transition that to where we are here, being a small community, I went from talk a little military talk here. I went from a squadron of actually a dental squadron, a medical group, which you guys would know is a larger group, a larger squadron within the group, to a medical squadron. So my dental squadron was actually the size of the medical squadron that's here. So all the medical people that's here on this base, my dental clinic was about that size of people that I had to both deal with and engage on a daily basis. So coming into a smaller environment like this, you can expect to engage with your neighbor. You can expect to just have, that you meet people like throughout the base. I've met nothing but helpful people. The Brits here are awesome. We have a unique experience with the British community or the English community that's here, because the base has some exceptional differences. I'll just say that. So you get to engage the population here that's both American and British, and it's pretty unique. But yeah, it was a little bit different, I believe, for Robin and I to be able to go over to a neighbor just like days after meeting them and say, hey, can you do this for me? And they're like, sure, whatever you need. And it's a little bit different for me, I think, because a little background, I'm a little bit older in age as far as being in the Air Force, but I'm younger in rank. So most of my peer group are senior enlisted members where, as far as age is concerned. And, oh, I'm sorry, we have Rayma. Yeah. most of
She
my
has arrived.
most of my peers.
I am right at home. Okay. This is definitely up my alley. Okay. So I totally understand.
So, but yeah, it was a little bit different being able to are engaging because you never know. You know, you kind of shake up the box. You never know what you're going to get. If am I going to get a younger member, or am I going to get an older member that's a senior NCO that I have to deal with differently? So that's one of the challenges. That's a whole nother show. I won't dig into that. But that's one of the
I
challenges
can imagine. Yeah,
as a
because
member.
I can imagine people thinking, because of your age that you should be a certain rank. That does kind of mess with you a little bit. So I totally can get that. It's like I told my daughter because she has a son, and so she was on this quest of just still thinking that she wants to go to medical school. So she'll be 30 in July. So she's got her graduate degree, and she's working on her master's in business administration. And I said, well, one thing, when you put that white coat on, everybody's going to assume that you've been a doctor for however long you look. So that's a good thing. You got to know how to work it. So cover up your rank and just get to talking. Okay.
That's real good. But it just, I really love what you said about taking the time to get to know your neighbors, because that's not something that we practice a lot these days. And we should, as Mr. Lindy said, kill it with kindness. We have to, know your immediate neighbor. And that's something that we in the military community, I don't want to say we're forced to do it, but we practice it probably a whole lot more than your average American practices that in today's society. Where we're from in Mississippi is the norm. You speak to everybody, the dog, the cat, the rock, you just speak to everybody. Mm-hmm. And I don't care how many times you walk past them, you're going to speak to them every single time.
And offering them something to eat, right?
Yes. Fat and full. Fat and full. Come on over here, baby. You look hot. Get a drink of water.
But that's your support system, though.
A
lot of times, because going back to sayings of, it takes a village,
Mm-hmm.
And that saying is true. It does take a village to raise a child. But at the same time, that saying was equated to, or should have been equated to, it takes a support system to do something like that. And the military has adopted that so well and implemented it to where you can take a 18-year-old, 17-year-old, fresh out of high school, just joined the military, put them into a community, and they have all the support that they need. Like if they've made it, they've structured it as such. Like, you coming into an environment, you don't know anything, you don't know anyone. That time that they send you through basic training and AIT or tech school, whichever, arena that you're in, you're basically learning how to depend on the people around you, that structure. But we abandon that in our everyday societies. And then we wonder why, it's such a struggle. If you look at it, those people who, it's a snapshot of, how those people who don't cling to things like that, who don't, qualify their surroundings and build circles of people with the things that they need to get them to the next level. It's evident when people don't have that in their lives, because the struggle is real when you don't have that support system. So the military definitely advocates that.
That's real good. I know. Just I guess this question is it's a comment, but I'd love to hear Robin's thoughts on it as well as yours, LaChelle. I remember right before we got ready to PCS in 2010 to the UK, I was having a conversation with a sister. I'd gotten to know her fairly decently. She was just coming in, and now we were getting on our way out, and she just came in from Germany. Anywho, long story short, I was asking her about different places that she's seen, things she'd done. And she related to me that the entire time that she had been stationed, her and her family had been stationed there, and she was the service member. The entire time that her and her family had been stationed there, that they really had not done anything outside of taking a trip with the chapel. She had been a member at the post chapel. And so if and when the chapel took a trip, that's when she went somewhere. But just to go out on her own and explore the community was something that she had not done. And I was just absolutely amazed, because those that know me and know me well, I'm nosy. I'm going to find something to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're not keeping me in the house, not unless I want to be there. And that included being overseas. So it's your perception, right? So, you know, my family preparing, I don't know if you guys can remember when my family was prepared. I went out and tried to buy every map in Barnes and Nobles and put it on my wall. And like, you know, having my kids to pick out the places that they wanted to try and go and visit. And praise God, we were able to make it to the majority of those places. But now with this PCS move, Robert, now that you have been there for these 3 weeks, how do you, you know, was there any fears that you had coming into it about exploring the local national community? And if there were, are they still there, or have they dissipated?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Fears. Oh my goodness. Just, you know, the unknown. Leaving the big US of A we've been in all our lives. Going to this faraway country. We got fly over all this water. Yeah, you know, for me, of course, there was concerns, especially for our oldest. Faith was raised, and all she knew was Texas, and so we left Texas and went to Virginia. That was a big tearing for her for a moment, because she was separated from friends she's pretty much known her whole life, and then now you gotta go make new friends, and then almost 3 years, and we about to move again, you know. And so she did have the conversation with her father recently that, you know, she missed home, and so that trying to get her interactive. The neighbor I was speaking about earlier actually has a 14-year-old, and her daughter and Faith actually just recently met, and so but her daughter boards, so she stays at the school that Faith will be going to come September. Our hope was to get her immediately into school when we got here, but that was a no-go. That was a no-go. So she'll be starting in September and wants to board. What's wrong with these children? So we said no. No, you're not ready for that yet. No. So we're gonna hold out. She'll go at least the first year riding the bus. Now this school is like 45 minutes away. So every day her dad has dropped her off outside the gate. She'll catch this lovely coach bus to the school. And now,
Yes,
at first,
please go ahead and clear up that disclaimer, because if you've never lived outside of the States, the children do not ride the yellow dog. It's
no,
it's a chartered coach, like a Greyhound.
right. Because that's immediately what I was thinking when I heard it. When I heard it for the first time, I was like, a 45 minute ride on a yellow bus? Really?
I didn't know.
And then my husband said, Robin, you not know, the buses are like coach, Greyhound style buses. And so I was like, oh, well, that's a lot better. Okay, great. So she got to go to the restroom or something. She good, right? And so, but you know, got that, and then got to get her in school, and the school want us to come and do a touring. Baby, I'm about to bust any day now, and so I had to email them. I was like, can we put this off? You know, for a little bit. But as far as other fears, you know, it's mainly the traveling, you know. We have to do a lot of traveling to stores because Crown is really small, and so but there's a lot to see. the base is really small, but there's a lot to see here, a lot of different cities to experience things. And so it's really just opening yourself up to um, a purpose. I believe personally, and this is Robin 101, that God got us here for a reason. And it's not, our trip here is not in vain. And so we just have to, have the mindset to make it better, to do better, and not be one that would just hide behind the walls. Because that would be me. That used to, back in the day, I told my husband, I was like, when he first told me about the UK, I was like, and the weather. Oh my goodness. So he's talking about the weather here, because I'm so not a cold person. I don't want to be nowhere near cold weather, period. You told me about the changing of the weather. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna be inside every day. I guess I'm gonna be here. He's
For
like,
real.
and it's like, Robin, no.
You're gonna have to get your coat, baby.
And so our first 2 days here actually was very sunny. It was very sunny, not a cloud in the sky. And then, so since we've been here, it could rain at the drop of the hat, be cool outside. Just my baby always, my oldest always, what the weather like? Do I need to put on long sleeves? Or I'm like, girl, just dress like you did yesterday. Put some sleeves on and have your jacket ready. And so I said, learn from your mama. Whenever I leave the house, I got my jacket and my sweater because I know how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah.
It was quite the experience. Just to add on to what Robin said, shout out to Pastor Faith and Pastor Roy over here in the UK and Leicester, and also to Kunzai and Priscilla, another lovely family over here that the Munleys that preceded us in this country established some beautiful relationships, and we were able to go in and intermingle with those relationships. But because of that, within the time, and I'll share this kind of haphazardly for disclaimer, for people who are new to countries and they're driving, I would just say be mindful, be careful. I braved it because I was a professional truck driver for some time, so I'm comfortable driving. So navigating different situations is a challenge for me. I take on the challenge. I learn pretty quickly, and I move forward. So within the week of us coming into the country, I took the driving test a couple of days after. I got a car within the week, and I was on the road. I wasn't going to sit on base. I have a family. They needed things, so I had to figure it out. Sorry, there's no bus system here on base to get us to various places. We have to the nearest town to drive for the tube, which is the bus or the train, would be 14 to 15 minutes away, and you're only getting there driving. So I had to, kind of hit the ground running, but it's because of those families that I mentioned earlier and the fact that we have this lovely child that we're expecting. I had to hit the ground running. So driving 30 minutes to Oxford to get Robin to her appointments, driving an hour away for worship, and that's by choice. We linked up with Pastor Roy and Pastor Faith before we left the States. They've been beautiful mentors to us in ministry, and we've traveled halfway around the world. There was no way that we weren't going to drive an hour up the road to worship with them. So within 2 weeks of being here, I was driving an hour away from base. Within 2 weeks of being here, I was driving another hour the other way to meet Kunzai and Priscilla, another beautiful family out here that, was at our disposal, whatever we needed, or, just show us around their local area and just, kind of be a help to us. So when you're coming into it, long story short, when you're coming into a new place, you can't be scared to get out and venture, enjoy yourself, learn. get away from the norms, because it's you will miss out on a lot. So many people around me were like, "You've only been a week here, and you've been where?" I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta go. I can't stay." So a lot of people sit around and they'll wait a week, or well, they'll wait a month, they'll wait 2 months before they're brave enough to venture out. And it's not been scary. It's just been a learning curve, driving on the other side of the road, learning what these signs mean, um, not finding parking. You're not pulling up to a parking lot to like Walmart. You ain't got that kind of stuff. So you might park in the garage and have to walk a couple of blocks. But the divergence that you get, the cultural experience that you get while you're walking those 2 or 3 blocks is well worth it.
Mm.
Now,
That's good.
I'm trying to learn how to drive on the other side of the road right now. Robin only knows how to drive an automatic on the left side of the car. And so, when I found out about this whole stick thing manual on the
I didn't tell you that part. My bad.
road, and then we had to drive on the other side of the road, and then the passing is on the other side of the road.
Everything is like the exact opposite of what we do in America. Like the exact opposite. It took me a good month before I was ready to take the driving test, and then I took the driving test, and my lovely husband took our American vehicle and went to work. Left me the British vehicle, and I was going to a job interview, so he knew I was going to have to. I can drive a stick, but it's like Robin said, I got in the car. Here I am sitting on what should be the passenger seat. And I'm shifting this thing with my left hand. Him tried to teach me a lesson. I tore that front tire all the way up. He had to come from work to get me. It wasn't on purpose. It was like, bro, you could have left me the American vehicle. He's like, no, I got to break that off you.
At least you know how to drive a manual.
Well,
yeah.
All I know how to drive is
actually,
automatic.
Kutai made it there first. Kutai made it to pick me up first. I had to change the flat and get me on post. But yeah, but it's all about not being afraid of the new experiences.
Yeah,
taking on the new challenges. That's what it's about. Like LaChelle and I talk all the time about the beautiful power of networking. This weekend we had a chance to meet each other in person. And our husbands was cracking up. They was like, how long have y'all known each other? As if we may have been at a duty station together or something. Like, nah, maybe 2 months. Maybe. Like,
right.
We met on LinkedIn. We talked on Zoom and boom.
Yeah.
It's that power of networking and overcoming the fears and talking to people, getting to know each other. That's how we learn and grow. That's how that's how every beautiful thing that you ever do in life will happen. As when when you overcome fear and start to tap into or step into what God called you to do, you can't be afraid. You have to be able to go in and talk to people. So it's really cool to hear that you guys are doing that. And what is it saying? It says do it, but do it scared. Okay, Yeah.
Jump right on in.
Jump right on in.
Yeah. Well, and I think having children really helps with that because, my kids, they want to go over to their friend's house or, they want to go to some function somewhere. And so you learn a lot through your kids because the more engaged they are, the more they're going to want to have people over and all this. So it really helps you to get out of that comfort zone. And then you can't tell your kids, hey, just go make friends if you're not doing it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to tell that to our 12-year-old. She quick. She know a little bit of word. And so she'll throw the scripture at you in a minute. Mom, what about the scripture that says, don't be a hypocrite?
Right.
I
love it.
Taught you well.
Isn't that right?
Right. So I guess my takeaway, my next question would be for you guys is you've been together 20 plus years. You've been a civilian family and now you're a military family. How has becoming a military family added value to your life? Like, what kind of blessing has that brought to you? Because again, we you only get to hear about the negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you hear about the negative stuff. You know, like Robin was saying, the PCS and the field problem, and he's never here or she's never there, and adultery, da da da. We hear a lot about that. But in this conversation, you've alluded to a lot of positives. So with the compare and contrast between the civilian and now the military life, how is the being a military family, despite the challenges, been a blessing?
Would you like to go first?
You can go first, dear.
um, I would say it's it's added value in multiple ways. When you know, speaking spiritually, when you know what's on your life and what you're called to do, um, you can see that in every environment and everywhere around you or anywhere that you're kind of injected into. Um, but being in the military, I think because I'm a people person, I can spark a conversation with anyone and maintain the conversation, build relationships, and things of that nature. So I think the military element allowed me personally to have options.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is as far as jobs and careers and, moving throughout the military, doing different things. Um, I've stuck and stayed in my career since I've been here. But it does have that opening. It has that window where you can do that. Another thing that I've loved about it is meeting people and building relationships with people. As a civilian, I think that, and this goes kind of back to our previous conversation. I think that so often we're disengaged with our environment, are so disengaged with our environment and the people around us because of how traditional jobs are. That is not all the time that we build those, good solid relationships. One thing about the military is everybody that's in there have something in common. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're a military spouse, your husband or wife is in the military, so you have something in common with your neighbor. If you're a military member, you're in. So that commonality alone builds a pretty tight knit community. So it does offer you experiences that or offer me experiences that I didn't get as a civilian. Um, the you can't beat what the military offers you as far as education, as far as healthcare, as far as travel. Even some people, you got to look at it a little different. But I wouldn't have lived on the East Coast for the past 3 years and be somewhere else in the world. I would not be in the UK if it wasn't for the military. Even coming over here on a visit was a strain because of the cost of travel. So, coming over here and experiencing or having being paid basically to experience a culture and do a job, I think is awesome. And the list just goes on and on. Honestly, I think if you look at the good versus the bad in the military, I think the good so often outweighs the bad. Now, with any job, you're going to have your challenges, and part of what we signed up for as military members, to include military spouses, everyone should know this. You know what your significant other has signed on that line to do. We have a service, we have a duty, and our duty is to our nation. That's just what it is, and it comes with some discomforts at times. It comes with the deployments. It comes with the field problems for the military going out into the field and doing things before they have to go on assignment. It comes with some extra duty sometimes. It comes with doing some things that takes you out of your comfort zone and away from your family. But the payoff, I feel like a lot of times is often not put in the limelight as much as the discomforts are, the other things that happen. And I think it's that reason. For that reason, I believe a lot of people are kind of, they get the bad picture of what the military is as a whole. Um, I wanted to join. Back when I was in high school, and I'll go back to this for all you people out there that are listening and had an opportunity or have an opportunity to join. I joined at 34. And what Robin failed to mention initially is, counting the years now, had we not, went the route that we did, I would be at 26 years. I would be retired right now. I was in ROTC in college. I was pursuing a military career, ready. I was ready to go for it in commission. Had I followed through and did everything that that I was supposed to do, in the trajectory of what I was doing at the time. Um, but that's not the plan that the Lord had for me and my marriage. And, now we're here. Um, I don't have a problem with the decision that I made. So if anybody is listening to me and it's your marriage or your career, take some thought to, what decisions that you're actually making, because I made a decision that uh, cost me a little comfort. Looking back on it, looking now where I am now, it might have cost me a little discomfort, but I wouldn't trade it. I have a beautiful family. I made the right decision as a husband, um, even with the condition of my decision. I mean, it wasn't a bad decision. I chose my wife over my career at the time, and that's a whole nother podcast, Quash. But that's just a little insight.
We're gonna talk about it later. You're right. It's another podcast.
Right.
Talk about it later. Yeah.
I love that though, because I think that's important because, with so many nuances that go into being a military spouse, that foundation has to be strong.
Yes, it
with
does.
the marriage and relationships. So having the foresight to see that back then, I think is amazing. And a lot of people are afraid. They think, what does this really mean? I mean, that's kind of like the situation that's really on the table when it comes to marriage and how you're building something and what that looks like to make sure that all parties are on board and really totally committed to whatever it is that you're doing. So I really respect that answer. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes,
for sure,
Thank
for
you.
sure. And it, as a matter of fact, it is a great conversation for another podcast, for a number of different reasons. Because and that has like nothing to do with military, but just has to do with marriage in general and what marriage really means. What does that commitment look like to the husband and to the wife? What are we willing to compromise and give up for one another? And those are all words that people today don't like to talk about, and they become somehow profane. That you would have the nerve to ask me to give up something, to compromise something. Well, duh. If we're gonna make this thing work, it's all in the way that you see it. Because Clint, I agree with you, LaChelle. Clint made an amazing decision. Now, at the time, being on the other side, I wasn't happy about it, but it wasn't my marriage. So it didn't matter if I wasn't happy about it. It didn't matter what me and his brother thought about it, because we were living out our marriage. That's his marriage, and having the wisdom to be able to make the decisions that are necessary for your marriage is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're gonna talk about marriage and longevity and a few other things, and help some folks understand why they're not married yet, or what happened in their previous marriage when they listen to some bad information. Why you not married today?
Bad information, boy.
Bad information to keep you flapping like a fish out of water, Beth.
It
That will.
will. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It
That,
will damage a relationship, damage a person.
yep.
So I personally, yes, personally, I'm just so thankful for when the Lord took the clay out of my eyes and I was able
Mhm.
to see.
Mm-hmm.
And because he did that for me, I was able to become a better me for my
Mm-hmm.
husband, for our daughter, our life around us, and so it's very important. It's very, very, very
Amen. 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 Well, guys, we
important.
really appreciate y'all jumping on here with us today for part 5 of our 5-part series on the life of a military spouse. Thank you, Clint Mundley, for letting
Yes,
us
ma'am.
beat up on you for a little bit. You
Oh,
brave.
you had me sweating up in here.
That's okay. That's okay. Next time you have a little help. My husband, I gave him a free pass today because he's working on some cars. I gave him
Oh,
a free pass. But when we had this next conversation, he don't get no free pass. He gonna have to make a cameo appearance. But
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
yes, yes. But before we go, is there anything else that you guys would love to leave with our viewers today?
uh, Stay humble, stay happy. Nah. You know, the this you know, just that I hope they gain something from
Mhm.
the information shared, and uh, it helps to grow, help us to grow. We all can grow from each other if we have an ear to listen.
Amen. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I likewise. I mean, I like what Robin did. You use each other to grow. You grow through the situation. Wherever you planted it, you're planted there for a reason. Use that place to grow. You might see. It might be some turbulence. It might be a little trouble. There. But you just grow. You grow through it. And I mean, we're a prime example. Laquita, Quasha, and being our prime examples. I mean, I know a little bit about their life, just a little bit, because they mentored us along the way, and honestly, I'm one. I want to say, Quasha, I am super super proud of you and everything that you're doing, Miss Laquita Monley, Doctor Monley. I am super, super proud of you and everything that you're doing. Awesome, awesome display of what God has put in you, and the people that are observing this. You're missing out on the treat if you don't click in and check out Laquita's Toolbox. If you don't click in and check out, our podcast and the things that she's doing. Awesome, super awesome job, super awesome example of a mother, super awesome example of a mentor, of a successful military spouse through the turbulence and everything else. Um, just a super awesome job. I really appreciate you for having us on the show. And I'll throw another plug in there. Awesome, wonderful people. Even though your life is a clutter with other things that you may be doing, whether it's a career or whether it's running after children or doing any other things in your life, just know that even with the supermom there, America's supermom, and Laquita, these are awesome women of God that display that you can be positive, you can do positive things in the atmosphere of busyness. And my wife included, and I'll use this opportunity to throw the plug in there that she's been successfully working on our brand and building covenant-press.com, which we have lovely advocates. Laquita has been supporting us. Um, and putting us out there. So I just throw that plug out there that if you want to wear the message, that's something that we believe in coming together and presenting a front to wear the message. We're believers, and we want to display that we honor God with everything that we do, every decision that we made, every choice that we made. It may have not been easy, but we honor God with it, and that's how we came up with the brand Covenant Dash Press, and we've been advocating for it. There's some new things coming out soon, but I celebrate my wife in doing that. She's been a blessing to me, to the children, to the vision, and her hard work on the brand. And there's more to come soon on that. But again, Laquita, thank you so much for having us, and we look forward to any future meetings.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming. They're coming for sure. They are coming for sure.
Open the door.
Miss, over to you, Miss LaChelle, before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I just want to say this has just been a powerful series. And, for many of you guys who may be watching and you're like, how do you even get something like this put together? We didn't really have a lot of planning. We just had a topic and went with it. And the dynamic conversations, the people that have joined us along the way, it just doesn't happen if you just don't take action. So,
Yeah.
I love what Brother Clinton said about, yeah, we can be busy, but make time for the priorities, the things that you really want to create an impact with. Use your voice and get people on your team that want to do the same thing. It doesn't take a lot. It's just me and Laquita, two people coming together doing something, and the rest is all the communication and contribution from other people who desire to do the same thing. So, my thing is never let things stop you from what you want to do. Stop making excuses and just get whatever you need in order for you to overcome those excuses, because we're either going to do it or we're not.
Yeah.
And if we're coming up with all these things that are in the way, find a way to get over them, under them, through them, whatever you got to do. I think I really am an advocate of that, because I could have 15 excuses every day that could leave me in a corner somewhere feeling down, but I choose to make time for the things that are a priority for me. And I want to be a good example to my kids. I don't want them to feel like, your circumstances can limit where you see yourself going in the future. So, thanks so much for having me, Laquita. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for coming. It has been fun. It's been such an amazing series. I really hate to see it end. I mean, we've had some great guests, some great conversations, and I believe we reached our goal. Though I believe that the things that we've shared through the past 5 weeks have landed an impact on those that had an opportunity to see it live, as well as those that will watch the replay. Because in these conversations, so many great tools have been dropped. The implementation of those tools have been dropped, but the thing that has been the consistent message that we've spoken is a message of hope for people to be the very best versions of themselves, and to do it. Just do it, like Nike. Just do it. Eliminate the excuses. Do it while you're scared. Do it when you don't know what you're doing. Just keep doing it. And when you're pressing forward into doing the things that God has called you to do, when, like I say, when you're pursuing your purpose with a passion, every resource that you need to get it done, whether it's people power, finances, technology, whatever it is, God will bring it to you when you were busy being about your Father's business. I believe that with all of my heart, and the Lord has never failed me on that, because He's not in the business of failing. Amen.
Amen.
So, guys, thank you so much for coming. Those of you that have supported my book launch this weekend, I appreciate you. I really do. Those that have ordered across the states, ordered my ebook across the states, across the UK, Australia, and Germany. I appreciate you guys so much for those sales that have been coming through. I did make it to the #1 new release in my category. I'm still pushing for that #1 bestseller, but God is faithful. So If you have not had an opportunity to order the ebook, the link is in the comment section. I'll pop it up on the screen for just a second. But if you look in the comment section, it's there. If you go out to Amazon and just type my name in, the book will show up as well as my podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. It's free. Hit that subscribe button, like and share it. Get the book. It's $2.99 for the ebook, and it is $15.99 for the paperback. The paperback, it was out of stock over the weekend, but it is back in. So, I appreciate that support. Thank you so much, Miss Robin Wilson. She's an amazing woman of God. Met her in a cohort that I was a part of earlier this year through the National Entrepreneurs Association. She was my accountability partner, and her accountability of me has not ceased since the end of the class. So appreciate you, woman of God. You are so amazing. Thank you so much. Well, guys, thank you again for the viewers that have joined across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Please continue to hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. Get this message out. And until next time, I am your host, LaQuita Monley. This has been LaQuita's Toolbox. You guys be blessed and have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.